Hi, this is Robin Timmers from the Netherlands, from the Hearing Voices Support Center in Nijmegen. I want to greet everybody of the Intervoice family of the Hearing Voices movement. Unfortunately, I won't be at the World Congress this year in Paris. That's too bad, because I miss all you people out there. I know you're doing great things, and I wish you all the best. And I want to take a little bit of time to give an update of what's going on in the Netherlands. Things are really, going good in the Netherlands. Actually, there's a lot of exciting developments lately. As for the Hearing Voices Support Center, we started in 2012, and by then it was only me, but now we're with 4 people. I can show you, they're over there. Can you see them? So that's me, Robin Timmers, that's Marlijn Peeks, who, by the way, is a voice hearer that never came into psychiatry. Then there's Ineke Litjens, she's also a clinical psychologist, and Koen Bethlehem. But most of all, the 4 of us were just experts by experience. We all have experience with hearing voices and living with them. Last few years, also thanks to the funding of, I don't know the English word, but Fonds Psychische Gezondheid, and our host organization, RIBW Nijmegen en Rivierenland, we have developed a recovery and emancipation-oriented approach to supporting people who hear voices, supporting their friends and family, and informing mental health care workers. It's a combination of things that already existed. Actually, I took a lot of insights that I learned from all you people at the Hearing Voices movement and combined it with a recovery-oriented approach. And we made courses with it. We put it into practice in individual support. We have an open drop-in for anyone who wants to know more about hearing voices and is looking for ways of understanding and coping with these things. And thanks to the funding, we can offer this course in the whole of the Netherlands, not just only in our own region. So this, all this is going really good. Right now I'm writing the book that goes with the project, and hopefully this will be published soon and put for free on the internet so anybody can read it. Basically our approach is really how do you call it, empowering for the voice hearer. The voice hearer can choose which ways of coping, of giving meaning to the experiences, of which types of support he or she wants. This can be a hearing voices group or support by an expert by experience, but it can also be transcranial magnetic stimulation or voice dialogue or Maastricht interview or cognitive behavioral therapy. But there's, the choice is with a voice hearer, and of course this is the vision, and that's also in the Melbourne Declaration, which is over there. But it's actually relatively new in the mainstream psychiatry in the Netherlands. So far about the Hearing Voices Support Center, things are really good here, and we're very thankful that we can do our thing. As for the Dutch Hearing Voices Network, or Stichting Weerklank, they made important steps the last few years in redesigning their website, making it more accessible with more information and putting things on the Facebook. Fabio did great work on that level. Also our magazine, the Klankspiegel, is now partly available online. So that's good, and with everybody involved, we've been thinking about which direction we want to go in the next few years. But there's also networks evolving. There's a network with Marius Romme and Sandra Escher. I thinking about the training of the Maastricht interview in the whole of Netherlands. For instance, Peter Oud, who is there at the Congress, he's been doing a lot of things in his mental health care organization. It's I put the course for everybody who works there. Things are really good there. Also the psychiatric nurses education in Amsterdam. Shanne Derks, who works there, she gives the Maastricht interview course over there. So there's a network of people who are doing Maastricht interview stuff. And also an exciting thing is the national research group into hearing voices groups, voice hearing groups. Barbara Schaefer is leading the research, and Maris and Sandra are in the group, and Jim van Os, and voice hearers like Irene van Gies and me, and the facilitators. Actually, all the voice hearers are involved. It's really exciting research, and on the one hand it tries to find out how does hearing voices groups help people, but also give momentum, hopefully, to the hearing voices groups in the Netherlands, because there's only 5 or 6 now, and it would be good if there are like 20 or 30 in the coming few years. So hopefully this development will push through. So that's another network. Another kind of network is a special thing. It's a kind of guideline that's being made by all kinds of experts on hearing voices. And it's actually a historic thing, I think, because all kinds of people with all kinds of approaches are at the same table. For instance, Maris and Rome and Sandra Escher are there, of course, but also Iris Sommer, who is way more brain-oriented, more biomedically oriented. People from Groningen are there. There's a polyclinic there. But also from Weerklank, from the Hearing Voices Support Center, I'm joining in. And people from the family organization Ypsilon and the patient organization Anoixis for the people who have been diagnosed with a psychotic disorder. Anyway, it's really special that they're all at the same table, and lots of important things are in there. Maastricht interview and voice dialogue, hearing voices groups, experts by experience are in there. The role of trauma has become really clear in the Netherlands lately, and it's clear in that guideline too. And that a lot of healthy people hear voices, and that if a person hears voices and otherwise doesn't have any problems, he doesn't need a diagnosis and he doesn't need medication. So that's a couple of years ago we couldn't imagine a thing like this happening, but it's happening now, so that's really good. So that's another kind of network going on, and at the World Hearing Voices Day on 14th of September, we here in the Hearing Voices Support Center in Nijmegen, we founded the Dutch Voice Hearers Network. It's 100% voice hearers, and it's just people facilitating people to meet and exchange and support each other and empower each other. It's really new, and we still have to come together, decide what we want to do, how we want to do it, where and with who. But it was a very inspiring meeting with voice hearers from all over the Netherlands who are really inspired and motivated to connect and take things to another level. So that's another network, and it's really good. I'm really happy that this is happening. So it's basically connecting the dots. You know, you're not alone when you hear voices. There are millions of people who have similar experiences, and we don't have to be ashamed about it. It's something that makes us special. So I think that about sums it up. Maybe it's good to tell that David van den Berg will be at the Hearing Voices Congress as well. He's a young psychologist who thinks out of the box, and Yeah, he did a lot of research into trauma and psychosis, and he actually put it into mainstream psychiatry in the Netherlands. Of course, within the hearing voice movement, we know the connection between trauma and hearing voices for a long time now, but it didn't reach the mainstream psychiatry. And this research is called TTIP, not the bullshit business thing they try to put into the European Union, but it's called Treating Trauma in Psychosis. It's a big research project which showed a really clear connection between trauma and psychosis, and that trauma therapy helps with giving a place to the trauma, but also it resulted in less psychotic symptoms. So he's going to talk about that at the Congress. He's a real nice guy. Also worked with him in another project, really out of the box, thinking mental health care in 2030. What would it be like? It's a different world then, and maybe mental health care is completely different. It's called Redesigning Psychiatry. I work with him in this project, and it's really exciting as well. And another nice development is the founding of the second Hearing Voices Support Center in The Hague by Yvonne Doornbos, who is at the World Congress as well. And it's really nice to have more support centers, and hopefully there will be much more in the Netherlands the coming years. And of course another really beautiful development is the book by Mick. I think Mick is at the Congress as well. He wrote a book about all his experiences and with hearing voices. It's basically an experience story, a recovery story, but it's so beautifully written, and it really touches me every time I read it, and it's really clear. There's humor in it, but it's also really serious about things that are happening and have happened in his life. And he tells the story of his voices and tries to pinpoint what their function are in his life. And as you get to know the voices, you get to know Mick. Really beautiful. He gave a presentation at the founding of the Dutch Voice Heroes Network. Another interesting development, and then I'm gonna quit, is Jim van Os. He's a famous psychiatrist from the Netherlands. He was in the board for advising the DSM for criteria for psychosis, and he had all kinds of good ideas that didn't make it. But now he's really big in the Netherlands and worldwide, saying schizophrenia doesn't exist, folks, which is really cool. It's becoming a whole movement. He put it big in the newspapers and also in the scientific literature, because there is basically no scientific proof that schizophrenia exists. Maybe you can have sensitivity towards becoming psychotic, if you want to call it that. But basically we are all. If you have had lots of traumas and use a lot of drugs and don't sleep for 4 weeks, probably you'll be in a state that can be diagnosed as psychotic. Everybody can have these kind of intense experiences. But it's a really cool thing. He made also a kind of network. It's called Psychosis Net, literally translated. And a lot of critical and recovery-oriented things are going on in there. Another project is that they try to reform the mental health care. Now it's called Good Mental Health Care, with expert by experience Wilma Boevink and Philippe de Lespaul. And it's really recovery oriented and giving a lot of space to experts by experience. Experience or expertise by experience has become, by the way, an official labor in the Netherlands with educations, and it's been recognized as an official labor, like a psychologist or a nurse or a psychiatrist. So all these things are really hopeful developments. Maybe the last important thing is that since the Declaration of the Human Rights of People with a Disability has been, how to call it, acknowledged in the Netherlands and has to be put into practice now, the big mental health care organizations said, well, by 2020 we shouldn't have any isolation cells anymore, which is also, of course, a historic step into a more human mental health care. So this was a freestyle update. I hope you can follow what I've been saying. Lots of hopeful developments here. Wish you all the best. You're doing great stuff. I miss you people, and hopefully I will see a lot of you people at the Durham exhibition about hearing voices. Because me and my girlfriend Trianne Immel and our newborn son, well, he's already 13 months, we'll go there too, and we'll hope to see you there. Have lots of fun in Paris. Goodbye.